So, Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays from heterochroMEDIA. Well, this is not Friday. This isn't our normal upload date. Where's Evangelion? Where's the wall? Well, I'm going to tell you why. It's called Christmas, and we want to celebrate Christmas. So you get a special Christmas special of heterochroMEDIA. And while I look for my notebook, Jess and Connor will explain what we're getting into.
Yeah, so I'm Connor, a humble collector.
I'm Jess, Peebus for real on Instagram and TikTok.
And yeah, we decided to watch some holiday specials from our childhood and
So that's just what that we like.
Yeah, that we like, yeah. So, we have three, probably blasts from the past for most of you. Some of them were new to some of us. But,
yeah.
Overall it's been it's been a very crazy December at my work, at least. So having the chance to kind of sit down, relax, have some drinks, watch some holiday specials was just what the doctor ordered, and looking forward to talking about some stuff.
Oh yeah.
Yep, being here in good old West PA, drinking a good East PA beer. We got Troganator here.
Yeah,
Troganator.
yeah.
Troganator.
I think either's acceptable.
It wouldn't be Redoubt Productions without butchering a word.
Would be either of our channels that butchered a word.
I've never butchered a word before in my life. Just kidding.
How much money you want to put down on that,
English
Jess?
major. Not recorded, at least.
So we will. It's the past hour and a half have been an experience, and also frightening reminders of how well we remember some of these things, but can't remember basic things like
Taxes.
Yeah,
Taxes.
Who knows what
Tax
that
season is coming up.
it's coming.
Again?
Yeah. Every time of year.
Remember, taxation is theft.
I'm saying.
Yeah, it is. How many tax? I think we're like 4 times the amount taxed than we were in 1775. Something like that. It's wonderful. It's wonderful. Anyways, let's get into. This is supposed to be a happy episode, so we're gonna take it right from the top. And Connor's choice for this evening was the. What was the name of the special?
So this is Ed, Edd n Eddy's Jingle Jingle Jangle, which is Ed, Edd n Eddy's a near and dear cartoon from my childhood. It was one of my favorites growing up, and I still enjoy watching it on occasion, very rarely. But in this case, when we were putting together the idea for this episode, I was like, oh, well, that's definitely a Christmas special from my childhood that we can talk about and has stuff in it. Ed, Edd n Eddy is a cartoon that follows the misadventures of 3 boys all named Ed. Ed with 2 D's, and Eddie. And basically the whole show revolves around them trying to scam their friends out of money so they can buy Jawbreakers. And hilarity ensues, as it were. So you have Ed with 1 D, who's a bit stupid, but he's a very kind individual. And then you have Double D, Ed, who is the smart one out of the group. Definitely very type A personality. And then you have Eddie, who's he's a con man, basically. He's the one who comes up with all their schemes that they use to try to get, money from their friends. And there's a whole cast of really interesting supporting characters that we'll get into later. Just got to bring that tagline back from our Evangelion episodes.
More on that later.
Yeah, more on that later. But yeah, so in this particular episode, going into Christmas here, Eddie goes through his house and finds his parents' stash of presents they'd hidden for him.
Which I should mind is buried in insulation. And Eddie is smart enough to be wearing gloves.
Yes.
So he's done this before.
Yeah, no, he goes up to the attic, he's looking around, and he steps on a loose floorboard and just lifts it up. There they all are.
It's a good thing Eddie's caught on to this, because imagine if Eddie wasn't so impatient and he opened his presents Christmas Day without gloves.
That'd be a problem.
Yikes.
Yeah.
But he is dismayed to find that his parents have only bought him clothes. And not even good clothes.
Dickies.
There's a dickie, there's a sweater, reindeer socks for some reason.
Oh, shit.
Peebus
Not yet, Cartman. Not yet, Cartman.
her sweater. I don't know how we're going to explain this to those of you listening. Jess is wearing a South Park Christmas sweater that makes noise when you press a particular button.
It's at Spencer's. You'll probably know it if you see it.
It's not mine.
No.
The store
The store.
Spencer's.
Oh, the store, right.
Yeah.
I need them royalties.
Yeah, you do.
I said it earlier. My mom's like, "Huh?" I'm like, "The store in the mall." Duh.
So Spencer, you can confirm you do not make these sweaters in like your garage.
I wish I did.
Right?
Make a
It's
fortune.
Like $50.
I'm not that intelligent. So back to Eddie.
Yes, back to Eddie. So basically, Eddie shows up at Ed's house after Ed's done some interior decorating, and basically he's complaining to him and Double D that Christmas sucks at his house, and his parents only got him clothes, which we were all discussing, because as a kid, yeah, getting clothes kind of sucks, but like, as an adult, let me tell you, I opened up a new pair of jeans on Christmas. I'm very excited.
I'm especially excited when I see it's 19th century clothing.
If I have a
for reenacting.
if I get a new hoodie, I'm gonna cry with joy.
Yeah.
Even though I have like 20 at the moment.
You can never have enough.
No, they're so comfy.
Yeah, because I wear jeans at work. That's what I wear every day. And I've worn out multiple pairs of jeans this past year. I am down to 2. So I'm looking forward to Christmas restoring my stock.
You wear jeans to work?
Yeah.
Oh, I wear khakis.
Yeah. Oh, well, I could wear khakis, but jeans are just more comfortable.
No, fair enough.
Yeah, so twice this past year I've actually had jeans rip at work because I've just worn them completely
wow.
out. Yeah, no. It's a problem.
It's like SpongeBob ripping his pants.
It really is.
Oh, that's the beach episode when we do our beach episode.
Oh, we're doing a beach episode?
Summer special.
Well, I'm saying as a joke.
No, now it's canon.
Oh God.
You've put it in the system now.
The lore of heterochroMEDIA.
But Eddie, in his normal scheming ways, is like, oh, I know. I'll have like another family in the neighborhood adopt me for Christmas. That way I can like mooch off their presents and not get like the lame clothes, which really doesn't make a whole lot of sense when you think about it. But it's cartoon, so just go with it. Also, there's a B plot that comes into play later, where the Canker sisters, who are kind of like a foil to the Eds. Eddie, when he's rummaging around his attic, drops a flashlight, and it's like shining up into the sky like the bat signal. And the Cankers see it, and they're like, oh, we should go follow that and see where it goes.
Oh, by the way, when they trudge out of the house, because the whole cul-de-sac is covered in like at least 10 feet of snow.
Yeah, it's like
they
buried.
trudge out, and it's honestly some beautiful animation, because it's obviously hallmark into like classical pastel paintings of the Three Wise Men and stuff. And it's actually legit really good looking.
Oh, yeah, no, it is.
Yeah.
Which just adds to the absurdity. It's like, these are really good animators.
Yeah.
But this is the plot that they're making.
Yeah.
They live in a time.
They do live in a time. I think they had a lot of fun on it.
Oh, yeah.
It's a fun show to watch. Check out an episode or two if you have a chance.
I think most that are listening have seen.
Probably.
Hopefully.
Yeah, if you haven't, though, you have no excuse. It's on HBO. So moving on. So Eddie leaves and is going to go get adopted by another family in the neighborhood. And Ed and Double D are like, oh, that's not in the spirit of Christmas. He shouldn't do that. And they're kind of figuring out how they can bring Eddie to this come to Jesus moment. But while that's happening, Redoubt has disappeared.
Keep talking.
But anyway, Eddie goes to the first house neighborhood he's going to check out tonight, which is Johnny 2x4's house. And how would you characterize Johnny 2x4?
Oh, Johnny 2x4 is the cartoon archetype of the dumb character. And he has a plank of wood that he carries around called Plank with a face on it. Yes. And a little tidbit about me and Cone here is
Cone, really?
I call you Cone, man.
You do. The first time on the podcast, but yes.
Our dad made us planks when we were kids because we really liked the show.
Yeah, we really did like the show.
So that's kind of funny. Anyway, yeah, Johnny's like the chaotic crackhead energy character in the cartoon.
He's definitely like the weird kid that you know.
Yeah.
Like through school that like everybody kind of knows but nobody really hangs out with.
He'd have the cheese touch if we're going off that.
Yeah, if we're going off of Diary of a Wimpy Kid. But yeah, so Eddie's walking and he notices that Johnny 2x4's house is completely not covered in snow. It's like middle of summer at Johnny's house. He's like, this is weird. But anyway, he goes up to the door. And Johnny greets him by biting his nose because he's dressed up like Jack Frost. And there's a funny, haha, it's a pun. But anyway, So Johnny agrees to let Eddie into his house, and Eddie is shocked to find that the interior is covered in snow and ice. And Johnny basically says, "Oh, like my family invites the outdoors into the indoors for Christmas. That's our way of saying thanks to Mother Nature."
He's Jack Frost, and he keeps biting.
Yeah,
his nose.
bites Eddie's nose multiple times.
Yes, the nose. It's funny.
Which we never really see any of the parents in this show, like throughout the entire series. But I have the feeling Johnny's in a cult. This might be like a weird. This might be
we were talking about that.
Not Midsummer.
He seems to be a
Hereditary. This seems like the Hereditary cult kind of thing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Who knows?
But also, Johnny talks to Plank like Plank is like a sentient being that he can hear, which the cartoon seems to imply he actually is.
Oh yeah.
So, but anyway, apparently Plank sees through Eddie's ruse. They eject him from the house. And,
Eddie should honestly go back in and go to Jimmy's like, okay, forget the Christmas scam. What if we join a partnership and we turn your fantastic ice slide thing underneath your parents' house into a theme park? And we split the profits. Well, considering it's Eddie, we'll split the profits 75 to 25.
Yes. Well, that's the funny thing with, so Eddie, the way he gets ejected from the house is Johnny 2x4 pulls this cord and the floor drops out from under Eddie. And he goes down this ice slide, and you can tell it's in, the cross space of the house. There's, pipes hanging down from the ceiling that you can see in a couple shots. But it's, 150 feet deep, which, again...
And it's completely carved out. There's no ground underneath, undermined.
Yes. Which, again, implies there's some weird cult shit going on. But anyway, so Eddie, not discouraged at this point, a little beaten up, moves on to the second house of the evening, which is Rolf, I believe.
Yes.
So Rolf is probably my favorite character in all of Eddie. Rolf is him and his family immigrated from some nondescript, northeastern European country, and they're living in the cul-de-sac now. And they don't really celebrate Christmas. They celebrate,
I gotta be honest, Rolf said a lot of words in the next couple minutes, but I don't know what he said fully.
Yeah, so I can't remember the name of the holiday, but basically they celebrate this, Yuletide tradition where they make a bunch of different food. But then there's this character called Ishmael, who's a very, Krampus-type character. But anyway...
Belschnickel, also.
Yeah. Or, wait, who?
Belschnickel.
I'm not as familiar with Belschnickel.
Belschnickel, if I got this correct, and I remember this from last year's Christmas, he went around with a switch.
Oh, with a switch, yeah. Okay.
It was very similar to Krampus.
Gotcha. Yeah. So Rolf's kind of just singing, and Eddie realizes that while there is food here, there is no presents because Rolf's family does not celebrate Christmas in the traditional sense. And so he just leaves. Rolf's just singing his holiday songs, and Eddie just kind of dips. And after this, I think he goes to... Well, I think Eddie and Double D try... Or Ed and Double D try to have...
so Ed and Eddie are trying to... Or no, Ed and Double D.
Yeah.
It's been a while, folks. So Ed and Double D are... Well, mainly Double D, and Ed just kind of following along, is trying to convince Eddie to not be so selfish.
Yes.
And in the spare time, which I can only imagine is only occurred in a matter of minutes, they have jerry-rigged a very complex piece of machinery to make Double D fly like an angel.
Yes, a series of block and tackle and winches in a tree. And so Double D descends from the clouds and is like, Eddie, you must turn back from your sinful ways. And Eddie is just having none of it. He pulls the feet out from under Ed.
Yeah.
Double D falls out of the tree.
He flies for one moment.
That's not flying. That's falling with style. And rips his wings off and leaves.
Takes the wings.
Savage. Then he shows up at Naz's house.
I think Naz was before. I don't think he had wings at
Or
his house.
was Naz before?
Naz was before.
Naz before. Okay, so we'll rewind a little bit to Naz. So Naz is one of two girls in the cul-de-sac that everybody seems to have a crush on. And she's cool. She invites Eddie in. Eddie's very not cool. Accidentally spits eggnog in her.
Yeah, Eddie has the hots for somebody in an ugly sweater.
Yeah.
That was interesting.
But he spits eggnog at her. She throws him out of her house. Fair enough. And so then he runs into Ed and Double D. But then after that, he goes to... Is it Kevin's or Jimmy's?
Kevin.
Jimmy.
No, wait. I have Jimmy and Kevin written at the same time. He goes to Jimmy's next. I know why we have Jimmy written
So,
down.
Jimmy is a younger kid in the neighborhood. He's friends with Ed, with Wendy's younger sister, who is a eldritch horror.
Yeah. Sarah.
The Eds fear her for good reason. But anyway, so Jimmy apparently likes to bake. That's kind of like his whole thing in this episode, is that he's making all of these like Christmas treats, like right out of like the Food Network or
like Martha Stewart,
or like Good Housekeeping magazine.
He also has the bladder like I just had 5 seconds ago.
Yeah, no, he has to leave for the bathroom at one point. While he's in the bathroom, Eddie eats his entire gingerbread village, which is impressive, actually.
Oh yeah, it's very heartwarming.
Yeah.
The village. I mean, not Eddie eating it.
Yeah. No, it's very nice. It's a nice seaside village with sailors on shore leave, apparently. That was a weird detail.
My favorite part is the fact that he used cookie cutters on butter to
Yes.
make them have shapes, and I'm like, that's actually kind of smart.
Well, that's the thing. He's like literally quoting like Christmas like housekeeping magazines. He's like, "Oh, you can make stylish butter out of using cookie cutters." He has a voice like an anime girl for some reason.
He's a femboy, we call it.
But anyway, so he's livid that Eddie has destroyed his Christmas village. Though Eddie does compliment him. He says the food's excellent. So he invites Sarah over, and Sarah kicks Eddie out. And Eddie's pretty distraught at this point. He's kind of at the end of his rope, and so he shows up at Kevin's house. And Kevin's kind of like the neighborhood bully / jock. And Kevin's like, "Oh, I'll give you a present for Christmas," and then, like, punches him through the bottom of the present.
With the power of aperture science.
Chad.
Yes. Yeah, because Eddie actually picks up the present and walks 10 feet away, opens it up, and then gets punched through it, which is funny.
Hey, that might explain why there's an abyss underneath Johnny's basement. Hey, look, guys, I had to look to see whose name the holder of plank was. It's been many a moon since I watched Ed and Eddie since last time.
What's funny is Johnny is the only character that has a last name.
Huh.
2x4.
Yeah. Which I think they do canonically confirm is his last name.
Can we circle back to Ed with 1D moving the chimney?
Oh, yeah!
Oh, yeah. So when Ed's getting ready to be in
Like
this
the beginning of the episode, yeah.
for Christmas, he literally picks up... So one of Ed's shticks in the show, and it's a cartoon, so it's cartoon.
Collateral damage.
Is he's very strong. He's stupid and he's very strong. So he literally picks up his family's chimney and moves it across the house to put it in his room, which is the basement.
Cuts through the whole
And
thing.
it, like, literally, the roof's destroyed, walls are destroyed. He's like, "Oh, not too shabby, if I do say so myself."
But what I was saying is about Johnny, and it goes back to the aperture science reference. That explains why there's an abyss underneath Johnny's house. That's the salt mine Cave Johnson bought.
And the plot thickens.
The plot does thicken. That means it's a set in Michigan, correct?
I believe it.
Sure.
This seems like a thing that
Some
happened
people
in
think
Michigan.
it's purgatory if you want to get into the
I
conspiracy.
mean, I honestly think the cul-de-sac is just at the bottom of the mountain we're on, honestly.
Could be.
There's a lot of things in the show that feel like Western Pennsylvania. I'm not going to lie.
Like
I
the
have no
people you
idea where...
interact with in the show.
Oh, I know the name of the guy who created the show.
We're going to insert here in on the screen.
I don't know where he's from, but it definitely feels very small town.
It's
PA.
at least, it's the very least the Rust Belt.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely the Rust Belt.
So, after all these shenanigans, Eddie's downtrodden, goes up on his giant-ass hill in the cul-de-sac, which I'm assuming we never see
he's
again.
Canadian.
He's Canadian, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, does Canada have a Rust Belt? They probably do.
Well, Canada's snow.
But they do have snow.
Toronto.
Toronto.
Exactly.
Look, all I have to say about Canada is, we burn York, they burn D.C. Let's call it
We're even? Yeah.
Yeah, we're even.
Fair enough.
So anyways, Eddie trudges up this hillside that we never see in the rest of the show, I assume.
And we don't even see later in the scene where they zoom out, which is funny. But basically, so earlier in the episode, Ed, with 1D, had found this Christmas light just sitting on a chair in his house and put it in Eddie's pocket. And as, of course, the show's very complex, so the whole symbolism of Pavlov's gun, you got to have the wall. It's Pavlov's gun, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Something like that.
Yeah, if you show the gun on the wall, you have to use it later. So obviously the light...
Chekhov's.
Chekhov. Yeah.
Pavlov is...
The dog.
Pavlov's... You're thinking of Pavlov's house in the Battle of Stalingrad.
I am.
Not the dog.
No, Pavlov's house.
Is that someone else?
Dog? What about...
The dog?
Oh, yeah, the dog experiment where
Isn't
he's
that
like...
Pavlov?
Yeah.
Or am I just stupid?
No, I think you're on something.
Your names sound the same.
You're onto something.
No, because...
But no, in your mind, Connor, you're thinking of
house.
Yeah.
Okay, but Chekhov's gone. I apologize.
Jess, you're going to get your hour here in a few minutes, so you better hold back that nerd call.
Yeah. So Chekhov's gone. They use the light. So Eddie's trudging through snow, and he sees this Christmas tree that we find out later is it just in the playground in the middle of the cul-de-sac. We don't know why, who put it there, or whatever. But anyway, one of the lights is burned out on this tree. And Eddie's like, oh, well, he finds the light in his pocket. He's like, oh, well, I guess I'll just fix it. So he unscrews
at the very beginning of the episode, Ed or Double D, I forget which one.
It was Ed.
It was Ed put the light bulb in his pocket.
So you can use it later.
Which also supports my theory that Ed is the smartest of the three.
He's definitely the most relatable of the three.
Smart and a dumb one.
He got his shit together.
Yeah, he's happy, which more than most people would say. But, well, it's funny though, because Double D talks at multiple points of the episode. You can tell that Ed actually has this face where he's like, I know what you're saying, but I don't understand it, kind of. But I digress. But anyway, so Eddie fixes the tree, and it lights up, and Double D and Ed show up.
Patronizing Eddie got to come in.
Yeah, it's like, oh, we're so proud of you. This is the spirit of the season.
Or Double D, I mean. Did I say
Double
Eddie
D
again?
Yeah, you said Eddie. They're all named Ed. It's hard. He comes later, but basically they're like, oh, we're so proud of you. That spirit of the season is giving without taking anything in return. And Eddie's like, oh yeah, no, I feel really good about this. And the other neighborhood kids are showing up. They're all looking at the tree, and then Santa flies overhead and drops a bag of gifts for everybody.
For some reason.
Like a loot drop in a battle royale. And Eddie, opens the sack. He's like, wow, there's presents here for everybody. And then he just steals it and runs away. So Ed and Double D...
And the rest of the cul-de-sac.
No, just Ed and Double D. The rest of the cul-de-sac just stands there. Ed and Double D run after
yeah, they do.
Yeah. Now, meanwhile, while this has been going on, the Cankers have been continuing their walk through the snow, following this light in the sky. And they have found a moldy piece of bread, a link of sausages and some pennies, and a coat, which they bring with them as they're following this light. And Eddie retreats to Rolf's shed, which is full of farm animals.
This is how all last stands and shootouts in America go.
Yes, you end up in the barn somehow. I don't know why. But anyway, so he's looking at the presents, and Double D and Ed come in. They're like, dude, you can't do this. This is wrong. He's like, well, I want the presents because I'm greedy. And
he's like, I did a good deed.
I did a good deed. I deserve them. So him and Ed are fighting, and they accidentally lob the bag of presents through the shed roof. And in the process, Double D actually gets hung up on a piece of tin roofing, so he's kind of hanging over the scene that's happening in the barn. At that moment, the Cankers come in, and they have these paper crowns on their head because they were playing with Christmas crackers earlier in the episode. And they are bearing the moldy piece of bread, aka mold, the sausages and pennies, francs and cents, and the coat, which is made of fur, which is, I think, one of the most clever jokes of the entire show. So it's a nativity scene, which I commented on. I think it's really the only mainstream cartoon that has anything moderately resembling a nativity scene in it.
At least in children's cartoons.
At least in a children's cartoon, yeah. It's very strange, actually. And then at that point, the Cankers proceed to try to kiss the Eds, and that's where the episode ends.
With being folks!
Yeah.
Them being assaulted in the shed.
Them being assaulted, and the rest of the neighborhood kids having received their presents are singing carols up on a hill. And it's really funny because Rolf doesn't understand any of this because this is outside of his culture. So he's like, what do these words mean? But yeah, that's Ed and Eddie's Jingle Jingle Jangle.
It was fantastic.
It was very funny because, yeah.
Also, we watched it in 2-minute clips on YouTube.
Yeah. Because even though HBO has Ed and Eddie, they do not have the holiday special. So they don't have Jingle Jingle Jangle or the Halloween one that they did.
Yeah.
Or the movie, actually, which is a darn shame because the movie's really good.
They don't have the movie?
No. They have seasons 1 through 5 of the show, but they don't have any of the extra.
But it's like watching anime in the early 2010s.
Yeah, it's literally, we watched 2 minutes of the ad, we watched the next 2 minutes.
It was great.
Yeah.
To be fair, most of the ads weren't that bad for once.
No, they were fairly...
entertaining,
yeah.
It allowed us to digest what we were witnessing.
Yeah, we could really simmer on the nuances that we were experiencing through the show.
So, any final comments on Jingle Jangle Jangle?
I have a soft spot for Eddie. A lot of my friends growing up, for some reason, weren't allowed to watch it. Never figured out why.
Because we grew up in like a Christian homeschool group.
That's true.
And people are weird in those groups. No offense if you're in that group.
Yeah, no offense to people we know, but yeah,
they weren't allowed to watch like SpongeBob either.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's some things that you're just allowed, you'd think you weren't allowed to watch, but no, oh no, that's cool. Then there's other things like, wait, why can't I watch that?
It's like some stupid reason.
It's like these kids are like 12, they're watching like the R-rated Passion of the Christ movie. I'm
yeah,
like,
that's okay. That's okay.
But Eddie, no, it's too far. But yeah, I grew up with that show. I liked it. Back when I was a kid, I used to identify a lot with Eddie because I thought he was cool. But as I've grown older, I've realized that I kind of can relate to all three of them in different ways.
I always thought you was Double D personally.
I don't disagree with that necessarily.
Because you were always like the smart one.
It's more like I'm the goody two shoes one.
Yeah,
I feel
that
like.
too. That
yeah,
too.
that's the.
Like I said, Ed got his shit together.
I will say Ed's got like the perfect like Redditor setup. He lives in his parents' basement. Like he doesn't bathe.
I'm very happy that Eddie is pretty blunt. That he is completely an asshole.
Yeah, no,
Completely
Eddie is an
self-indulgent.
unapologetic asshole. He's a jerk to his friends throughout the entire series, and he acknowledges that he is, but he doesn't care.
That's just how he is.
And that really doesn't come to a head until the movie, which is probably one of the better like cartoon finales of my childhood.
It honestly
We might have to talk.
has a lot of.
We should.
It brings up a lot of feelings about Eddie for some reason.
Well, yeah, it's because like you realize that Eddie's the way that he is because of how his brother was to him, and I know we're getting way off track.
Yeah, but
No, keep going.
But like the movie, a lot of cartoons from my childhood did not get endings, or if they got endings, they were not very satisfying. But Ed and Eddie, they actually got a movie, and they were able to kind of like tie up a lot of loose ends and kind of like really the characters actually grew as characters, which was kind of weird because everybody stays pretty static throughout the show. In fact, they're between the first like episode and the end of the series, there are no new characters introduced.
Oh, yeah.
Like you're stuck with the characters that you have from the beginning until the movie. They had one character in the movie, who I will not spoil, but you can probably guess who it is. And it's a good move. It really, probably one of my top 5 favorite movies of all time. I'm not gonna be honest.
That's cool. Yeah.
That's cool. No, honestly, I mean, I watched Ed and Eddie in passing, so I'm familiar with the 3 main characters and their hijinks, but I didn't watch it like extensively. As you will learn later, more on that later. I didn't really watch Cartoon Network as much as the average kid did, and I'm regretting that now. But hey, streaming services, I can watch all that I missed and watch it instantaneously.
That was a good age for Cartoon Network too, because there was Ed
Oh my gosh, it was like the Great Adventures of Billy and Mandy, which
Billy
was
and Mandy
my
was-
favorite.
Oh, I do remember that.
Chowder was really fun.
Chowder has the greatest fourth wall break of all time.
It does.
I also
yes.
think Camp
Okay, so I have watched more Cartoon Network than I thought.
Yeah, Camp Lazlo's pretty good.
I mean, Adventure Time started.
Samurai Jack, of course.
See, I was gone by the time
Regular
of Adventure
show. We got Flapjack, if you're into that kind of thing.
Yeah, Flapjack kind of scarred me a little bit as a kid.
As a kid, I was like, I hate this. But
Yes.
I started rewatching it now, and I'm like, oh, this is my sense of humor, actually.
Well, I feel like that was near the end of, like, at least me watching Cartoon Network.
Same,
It's like
yeah.
when Adventure Time, Regular Show, and, like, Flapjack were, like, out.
I think,
Mid
like, around...
2000s.
Like mid-2000s. Maybe, like, 2008.
The only show, like, I really watched after that was The Amazing World of Gumball, which I think is pretty good still.
Well, yes, it's one of these shows.
It's one of the shows, yeah.
Yeah, one of the shows of all time.
One of these shows of all time. Well, we're gonna switch the channels from Cartoon Network and we're heading over to Comedy Central.
Okay, so the Christmas special that I picked is Mr. Hinky's Christmas Classics.
Mr.
From
Hinky!
the 3rd season of South Park. I originally thought it was the first one, but that's Mr. Hinky's origin, which is a whole nother thing, so I'm not going to get into it.
Yeah, get on the lore, people.
Yeah. Okay.
There's only 20, how many seasons?
25 at the moment.
25 seasons of lore for you to catch up on.
Yeah.
Plus a movie, plus several specials.
Oh, yeah. But basically, if you don't know what South Park is, which... What?
Yeah.
It is a American
Reasonable
cartoon series that started in 1997, and it's
Damn.
still ongoing. The fandom is still very much alive.
It's been 25 5 years.
Yeah, it's insane.
And the farther our country implodes,
The more content they get.
The more powerful Trey and Matt become.
Yeah, so like, if you don't know, it basically uses satire to make fun of current events like politics, religion, pop culture. And it kind of just makes fun of everyone, which is why I think it's popular, because no one's safe from the scrutiny, which is pretty
Yes. Yes, that is why South Park survives. Trey and Matt give no fucks.
No.
If you exist, there is something that they've made fun of that is related to you in the
Yeah.
show.
And there's two ways you can do it. You can either live up to it, or you Kanye West it.
Don't do that.
You don't want to be Yee.
Don't be Yee.
But the overarching storyline of South Park is it follows the core group of boys, Cartman, Kenny, Stan, and Kyle, who are in elementary school in 4th grade, 3rd grade at the beginning of the series, but that's another thing. And it follows them, going through all these events and changes, but not really growing up, since they've been the same age for like 25 years.
Well, aren't they in 5th grade by now? I thought they've gradually.
No, they graduated to 4th grade, I think.
Just 4th. They've only ever. I thought they eventually went to 5th. Like, it was so gradual, but like we're doing it.
They're in like elementary school.
It's purgatory.
Still, it is purgatory.
It's what the country needs.
So, yeah, that's our main overview of South Park. And I'll get on to the character who's the namesake of this episode, Mr. Hanky.
Mr. Hanky!
He's Mr. Hanky the Christmas Pooh. Introduced in season 1 back in 97 because Kyle, who's Jewish, was sad about not celebrating Christmas and all his friends were celebrating Christmas. So Mr. Hanky comes to like cheer him up and stuff. But then he like tries to get other people to believe in Mr. Hanky and like nobody does, and it ends up with him in an asylum, basically.
Reasonable outcome.
Yeah. But then eventually Mr. Hanky reveals himself to everyone, and now everyone's like on board with him. He is the mascot of Christmas.
And he's apparently moved up so much in the ranks that by this point, when we get to our special, he got his own hour on television on Channel 11.
I mean, to be fair, if in the real world there was a talking piece of shit, they probably
he
would
has
have
a
talk
family
show.
in later
Isn't that
seasons.
most of daily television?
And they have talk shows, exactly. I rest my case.
But yeah, in the later seasons, he has like a whole family.
Thank you,
of
Pennsylvania.
kids.
I'll be here all night.
And Mr. Hanky is like a character. He deserves a deep dive eventually, but into the toilet. Anyway.
Oh my god.
So to get into the special that we're focusing on today, Mr. Hanky's Christmas Classics is basically formatted as a variety show of Christmas songs featuring our favorite characters from South Park, and it begins with the song "Mr. Hanky the Christmas Pooh," and it's performed by the postman who looks like something out of like the old like claymation Rudolph, Rudolph and all that kind of stuff, and it's basically they singing his theme song, and he shows up and he launches into the Christmas special where he's sitting by a fireplace, all festive and talking and like introducing all the segments.
Mm-hmm.
And you probably can get what I'm saying. But the second song is a great song called Dreidel, Dreidel, Dreidel. And we all know it's a Hanukkah song, but South Park like does this twist on it. And for the longest time, I thought the South Park made the Dreidel song because I was uneducated. But not true. And the song, it starts with like the original Dreidel song. Then we have Cartman, who how he feels about Jewish people. If you've seen the show, not great.
I think the general public knows how Cartman feels about
He do be a
people.
tad anti-Semitic though.
Yeah, so like
Judaism.
they all come in, it becomes like this big looping song of like all the different characters.
Disparate lyrics.
It's really well done.
It's such a good song. Like look it up if you haven't heard it.
Kyle's father apparently has a crush on Courtney
Cox. I love you. You're so hot on that show. I mean, yeah, it's Courtney Cox.
What shows are you referring to?
I think
I'm assuming
Friends?
I'm
Yeah.
assuming Friends. It's
Yeah,
1999.
give them time frame. Yeah,
Yeah.
that makes sense.
I had a cat named Phoebe. Literally named Phoebe because
after Friends.
Yeah, because my family ended up with Phoebe the year that Friends ended.
Oh, yeah.
So, and funny enough, my mom does not like Friends, and nobody in the household likes Friends.
I've only seen maybe one.
So,
or two
but
episodes.
we had a pet named after a character in Friends, but none of us liked Friends.
It's a cute name, at least. Yeah.
That's my friend's connection.
So, after the dreidel song, we move into Ode Tannenbaum, performed by none other than Adolf Hitler in Hell.
Woo!
And it's always...
Look, somebody got it canceled on this show, and it'll be me.
Thank you for taking one for the team.
No problem.
It's always interesting seeing who authors and creators put in Hell, because going all the way back to the good old days of the Divine Comedy.
Yeah. The Dante's Inferno.
Yeah, Dante's Inferno is one of 3 books, but
people only care about Dante's.
Well, that's the cool one, yeah. But basically, it's always interesting to see who you put in Hell. So in this episode, we see Hitler, which, fair, that makes sense. JFK's there for some reason. And his son. There's a couple other people there. Princess Diana's in Hell in the song for some reason.
Yeah, there's a lot of familiar figures. When Hitler's little Ode Tannenbaum leads into the main song that takes place in Hell, which is called Christmas Time in Hell, performed by Satan himself. And I'm just gonna say, out of all the cartoon iterations of Satan, South Park's just my favorite because he's very human.
He's very chill.
He is very chill.
He's in a very toxic relationship with Saddam Hussein. So.
Yeah, that's a whole thing.
He was a weeb.
He was.
Yeah. So
that's canon.
We get the fantastic song called Christmas Time in Hell, and honestly, I think it's kind of funny because Hitler speaks German the whole time, so if you don't speak German, you really can't understand.
I have a sneaky suspicion Hitler is saying things and Satan ain't picking up on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's just going, Christmas tree, and stuff like that. It's really entertaining. Really
that would be really funny if for some reason Satan only spoke English.
Maybe in South Park canon, that's the
case.
Because we are the worst.
Yeah.
And then so moving out of Hell, we get a Mr. Hanky cutscene, and we go immediately into Carol the Bells.
Look, folks, there is no. Usually the other ones, Mr. Hanky or somebody builds up to the song. There is no build up to this. There is no warning. Mr. Mackey. Mr. Mackey. Wow, I'm really far gone. The Yangling is kicking in, folks. Mr. Mackey walks out of his house,
dressed as a bell,
and
he starts singing.
It's actually pretty good.
It's just you don't expect it. But Mr. Mackey's catchphrase is okay, so it's added on after certain things.
Okay. Actually, that's not how the song.
Yeah, and it's actually a really good rendition. It says knows all the lines. That's important. Which ties into our next song, "Oh Holy Night," performed by none other than Eric Cartman.
So going into this, I was scared because I'm like, oh god, Eric Cartman. We're dealing with stuff in
Palestine, basically.
Yeah.
Cartman has an extensive history on the show. My favorite crime of his is when he fed a kid his own parents in a bowl of chili. That was. And the thing is, it's not really a spoiler because it's not a big deal on the
Everybody
show.
knows about the Scott Tetterman.
Yeah, but the Scott Tetterman's dad is actually Cartman's dad as well. So basically, Cartman fed his own father to his half brother. It's a whole thing. It's very funny, I think at least.
There's layers.
There's layers. There's a lot of layers.
I'm not the only one joining the cancel train this holiday season. Join me, Jess.
Have you seen my channel? I've been there this entire time.
I can't help it. I said to them, the autism comes out when I talk about South Park because it's a show that I've loved for years and years and years, and I'm very deep into the fandom and the lore, and I've been here too long, basically. So I don't know what
You've been in this spot too long.
I've been in South Park too long. I don't know what's considered not correct to say on podcasts. I'm sorry. But okay, Cartman sings "Oh Holy Night." A great rendition. He doesn't know the words, so sometimes he goes,
He doesn't really get offensive. It's just, it's actually honestly the most relatable song of the entire special.
Yeah.
Because Cartman is struggling to remember the lyrics of "Oh Holy Night," and it's very relatable.
So, fun fact. When I was in Israel, we went to this church, right? And apparently one of the traditions of this church that has great acoustics is that every group that comes in has to sing something. Okay? It turns out there are 8,000 different versions of Amazing Grace.
Oh, yeah.
And I was in a group of Catholics, Protestants, Mormons. There were so many different people in this group. that we all had different versions of Amazing Grace that we knew. And it was an absolute cluster. And so as soon as Carmen came on, he started stumbling over those words. I was like, oh yeah, that's relatable.
Tracks.
That tracks.
What was the reaction of the person leading the song?
So we were being led by a very faithful evangelical Christian man.
Oh boy.
And he was somewhat disappointed in us, but I think he understood. I felt bad for the people that were like in the church who weren't part of our group because I felt just sorry for them. I was like, imagine you're on your like one trip to the Holy Land in your entire life and you have to listen to these bunch of American assholes
So does it, like,
screw up a classic
It has
hymn.
to be like a hymn.
Not necessarily.
So,
we were told that like every group that comes to this church, like it's a tradition.
So-
It's a tradition that you go up and sing because the acoustics are great. They were great.
You
to
can
be
go
fair.
in and be like, singing Britney
I mean,
Spears.
I was about to say, I don't know if I'd walk in there and start singing like Tub Thumping or anything. But
I
like,
get knocked down. That would be good. The acoustics, churches.
I feel like you get kicked out, but that's that's
But
just
maybe
me.
if you're good enough, they'll be like, you're kind of cool. Stay and have some tea with us.
I mean, if I go in that church and they only have one song to sing, may or may not be comfortably numb.
Oh, yeah. Bohemian Rhapsody would be fun in there.
I feel like Calm Suster Top would be good.
Oh, yeah.
Actually, let's do that instead, yeah.
Yeah.
No. Anyway,
I at least know the opening of that one.
yeah. And then it just kind of repeats itself for like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And eventually get to something about tumbling down.
Yeah.
And then by then, we're already being thrown out of the... We're not even being thrown out of the church. We're being thrown out of Israel entirely.
They're like, ew.
They're
You
feeling
Evangelion.
Gross. Lame. Nerd.
unholy,
Unholy.
sacrilegious.
It's like, but there's crosses. They're like, that doesn't
Definitely
count.
not kosher.
That doesn't count. It's
Doesn't
merely
count.
circumstantial.
So,
I think we've cemented ourselves at this channel. This channel is going to be the nerd.
It's so unhinged.
No, what was it says? It's the home of the Evangelion nerds.
oh boy. That's a scary
If
thought.
you build it, they will come. That is.
That's what she said.
So, Jess, how does the special continue?
Okay, so we finished O Holy Night, and in the end, Carmen, within the song, sings about how he gets presents because Jesus was born. And let me just bring up Jesus in this. He's a baby with, like, full-grown Jesus' head. I think it's really funny.
Yeah.
He's just looking up at him like,
He's
wow.
got full beard.
Yeah,
got
it's,
full
it's,
beard.
it's South Park Jesus, fully grown head.
Just on a baby body. It's funny. And so Carmen...
I don't even have to have an edit for that.
Carmen
Train that dude for
ends
me.
the song with having stolen the gifts that the three wise men brought for Jesus and like taking them away on a camel's back. He has a train of camels with like presents on them. And that's how the song ends. And we go into our classic Merry Fucking Christmas, sung by none other than Mr. Garrison and Mr. Hat's there too, of course.
This
It's
is
an early
the-
season.
This is the This is. Would you say this is proto-America F? Yeah.
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 This is Trey.
I would think so. Yeah.
Explaining how America treats Christmas and how it treats people who celebrate the holiday season
my
around the
gosh.
world, and it's pretty accurate.
I mean, Mr. Garrison. See the whole character.
Former
There's
president of the
a lot of
United
layers
States.
there.
Yeah, there's a lot of layers to Mr. Garrison.
I didn't know. Well, I didn't know he was president of the United States.
Okay, so
was.
basically, they made him Donald Trump. Oh my god, we'll have to watch those. That's not the best of South Park, but it's entertaining.
I'll be honest. I've only seen like the South Park that I happened to walk in while Jessica's watching.
You
and
watch?
sat down to
I made
finish
you
it.
watch like a few episodes.
Yeah, so I've seen some episodes.
Well, you
but,
see, I had the theory to train that made Mr. Garrison Trump because they thought it was only going to be like a one-season gag. And then they're like, "Oh shit!"
I think in an interview they said that's what happened.
Yeah. Oh shit!
They're like, oh, we gotta keep going with this.
So
Okay.
was he president for like the full?
Remember when
What?
I showed you the Craig X Tweak episode?
Yeah.
And then the one after that, I think I showed you where Tweak is anxious about being bombed by North Korea. Because Mr. Garrison, who is playing the president, is tweeting out, Tweak in South Park thinks you're blah, blah, blah. And he's like defending them, and it's a whole thing. And it's kind of relatable as an American.
My favorite
There's certain parts of
President
our
Garrison
history.
moment is at the end of, I think it was the first or second. It was the pandemic special where it's really heartbreaking. And Stan is trying to build his life back, trying to keep things normal, and he wants to go to Build-A-Bear, and it's all he wants to do. And he like forces Butters to go to Build-A-Bear, and like Butters is like, dude, I don't want to do this. He's like, you're gonna do it because I want to feel like it's pre-2020. And like, yeah, there's a really tragic moment where the sand breaks down, just wants to just keep things normal. And then Mr. Garrison walks out with a flamethrower, burns all of the Build-A-Bear. I believe it was the Build-A-Bear thing. It's like, oh, don't forget to get out there and vote this year, folks. Thank you very much. And I think it was one of those moments my soul left my body.
Your body left your soul.
So bad assumption. Stan, I feel bad for him because leading up to 2020 he wasn't having a good time because his dad bought a weed farm called Integrity Farms, and
That's some fucking integrity.
it's a whole thing. He hates it. Stan has not had a good couple years. Anyway, Mr. Garrison is teaching his class about Christmas.
All right.
Circling back.
So, Mr. Garrison, he teaches like random crap all the time. Like my favorite is when he's teaching Game of Thrones lore to the kids as if it's real. He sings this whole song about going to the Middle East and singing about Christmas and making them celebrate Christmas. It's very offensive.
American Christmas.
The Americanized, good old patriotic going.
Ignoring
Christmas.
the Christians in the Middle East.
Less Christ, more chance.
Like putting
not even that. Less Christ, more money.
Yep.
Kind of putting their religions to shame. Like he's like, you're
he,
dumb.
He doesn't just hit the Middle East. He hits the Middle East, then he hits India, and then he hits Japan for some reason.
He goes to Japan, and he throws stuff around.
Look, he gets it wrong, because everybody knows Japan celebrates Christmas by going to KFC.
Mm-hmm.
Amen. Yeah, so that song ends. It's a very memorable one. And we come up with kind of a song I don't think is as memorable, which is Shelley Marsh, who is Stan's sister, singing I Saw Three Ships.
To be fair, Matt and Trey know that's not supposed to be memorable. So Matt and Trey basically live vicariously through Stan and Kyle on the couch.
Which is great, because they're the characters that they put themselves into.
It's funny, because I actually like I Saw Three Ships. It's very basic, but it is a fun song.
Shelley... she has braces, so she's going, I saw three ships come. It's like,
that's not why I find it funny. It's because Shelley's just sometimes an awful human being.
Yeah, but the funny part is Kyle and Stan in the background making.
Well, she does kill Kyle and Stan.
She fucking picks up a piano and throws it at them. It's great.
Throws it with the might of Zeus.
She gets all Hulk smash on them. Then after
picks it up with her tiny body.
She's like, turds! Throws it. She calls everyone a turd. It's her thing. And then after this, we have a Christmas melody performed by Jesus and Santa Claus, where they're at a club.
This might be my favorite bit of the whole show, episode.
They're at a club singing Christmas songs. Like, Jesus sings the songs about Jesus, and Santa sings songs about Santa. But then Jesus, has hundreds of Christmas songs, and Santa's like, I have 4! And they're kind of, fighting the whole time. And at one point, Santa's singing, her name is Rio. It's like Rio by Duran Duran.
Which was funny.
It was really funny. It was, so random.
Look, Jesus, I only have 4 songs. You got 300 songs.
But they
let's see. Could we get more than 4 Santa songs? So we got Santa Claus is coming to town.
Santa Baby.
Santa Baby.
I saw
Mommy kissing Santa Claus. Up on the housetop. Shit.
There gotta be a 5th one.
Are there any from the claymation Christmas specials?
I honestly don't remember.
I can't either.
The only thing I can think of...
The rum is blocking my memory.
God damn it, Jesus was right.
And also, why are the Jesus songs... I mean, I know why, but the Jesus songs are better. They're very catchy.
Jesus.
I was about to say, are they better, or are they imbued with the feeling of hundreds of generations of people?
I don't know, but nothing's lasts more than...
it's peer pressure. You have to like it.
Nothing's lasts more than Oh Holy Night, I'll tell you that much.
Well, Holy Night's pretty good if it's done well.
It's the beat. It's the beat. Yeah. I'm gonna go with that. But it ends with them singing as a duo, Let It Snow, and they come together at the end, and they're friends at the end. It's a great little skit.
Beautiful.
And also Santa again starts singing Rio.
More Duran Duran.
As afterwards.
Now, question: What is everybody's favorite Christmas carol or song or hymn or whatever?
my favorite Christmas song, I don't know if this is Carol or him, Little Drummer Boy, but by Bob Seger.
Ooh.
It has to be that version.
Specific, I like it.
I like "Oh Holy Night" because I sang it in church many times as someone who studied
it's a
classical
pretty song.
voice.
It's a pretty dang song.
Yeah, but if we're talking like mainstream Christmas songs, I really like Mariah Carey. You know, "All I Want for Christmas Is You," because it's a classic and it's a bop, and I'll listen.
Do you like because it's a classic, or do you like it because she's a meme?
I think it's a good song, but then
It's a
the
good
meme
song.
adds to it because she comes out with a new thing every year that's like a meme.
I will say, controversial opinion, God Rest Ye Merry Gentlemen is a bop.
Especially when it goes faster. Dude.
Yes, exactly. And I will stand by that.
Yeah. So that's everyone's
enough.
favorite.
Yeah.
I have nothing to say on that.
And comes the end of the special, where this actually gets a little sad, but I'll go into that in like a minute.
Yeah, so Kenny finally shows up.
Kenny shows up for the first time, which is a travesty because
And since this
everyone
is
freaking loves Kenny.
and since this is early South Park, when Kenny shows up in an episode, Kenny must die.
Yeah. A light falls on him.
Chandelier.
A chandelier falls on him.
I think it's like the first 4 seasons he dies in every episode.
Yeah, they meant to kill him for good in the 5th season, but then everyone's like, bring him back! Bring him back!
Yeah, like you gotta.
Because they have an
keep
episode
Kenny.
called Kenny Dies.
Yeah, you gotta.
And
Keep
he's gone
Kenny.
the rest of the season.
That might be Matt and Trey's baddest decision, just because it's like no, we want Kenny.
Everyone loves Kenny.
Yeah, everyone loves Kenny, and it's not so much because he dies regularly.
Do you remember when Cartman drank his ashes and that was the whole thing?
Oh, yeah. Kenny living in Cartman's body.
So YouTube, Susan, let me explain to you that we're not saying that we condone any of these actions, but how else do you want us to explain what South Park does?
I was about to say, understanding is not justification.
Yeah. Like, I love South Park, but, like, do I condone some of the things? Absolutely not.
Most of the things.
Most of the things, yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Kenny shows up for, like, one part of the song. This is my favorite part of the song, where the 4 boys say that through the years we'll all stay together. And it's just like, I hope. But then, in the future episodes we see, like, what goes on in their adult lives, too. But that's, like, my favorite part of that song. And, Kenny dies, like, right after that. And then the song we have, like, seemingly random characters thrown in. They're all female, and it's because of the voice actress who, for the first few seasons of South Park, voiced all the female characters. Her name is Mary Kay Bergman. The episode's actually dedicated to her, along with Starvin' Marvin. That episode's also dedicated to her. But she passed away in 1999, and I just want to give a moment to talk about some of her notable parts, such as she was the first to meet Turner, which is really cool.
Wow.
She
okay.
was.
I did not know that.
She was Daphne Blake in the Scooby-Doo Zombie Island and those movies.
Zombie Island?
Yeah, she played Daphne in those.
We gotta talk about those movies.
She played Herky in JJ the Jet Plane.
Damn, that takes
The
me
helicopter.
all the way back to childhood.
She was Jessie's Yodel in Toy Story 2. And she played the Bim Betts in Beauty and the Beast. The blonde chicks that love Gaston. She played all of them. She's had such a great career.
She had a small role in Hunchback of Notre Dame.
Yeah, she played Quasimodo's mother.
Okay,
wow.
That's what I knew her for.
Yeah, she also played Revan Evan in JJ the Jet Plane. And, along with all the South Park females the first season. She was a fantastic voice actress. And actually, the writing of the show changed a lot after her death because Matt and Trey were so close with her that it kind of it took a turn and focused more on mortality, life, maybe a bit of a darker sense of humor after that, actually. And so the special ends in general with Mr. Hanky being flushed down the toilet and Kyle going, "Bye, Mr. Hanky, see you next year." And that's how it ends. But throughout the whole thing, we have fighting Frizzies at 11, which is
yeah, that was very random.
It's because
It only shows up in the second half too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a commercial break, kind of making fun of the news stations or the main stations that show Christmas specials. We're fighting Frizzies, and the whole thing, it goes on, and in the end credits, he actually fights the Frizzies. and it's a boxing match. And it's South Park, so it's like it's my favorite cartoon Christmas special, I think.
You think?
I do have to wonder. I do have to wonder what VHS they ripped that fight off of. For fighting the Frizzies.
They did that themselves, I think.
Really?
Yeah, it's animated.
Yeah. No, it's not
it's
animated.
live action.
It's live action.
It was just so random.
It was. It really was.
There was no lead in. There was no preparation. It was just like, this is it.
Yeah. No, it had good stuff in it.
Yeah. All right.
It's a
So
classic.
now, before we move on to our next part, and now it's
Fighting
time
Frizzies
for my selection.
at 11.
And we're going way back. Well, actually, we're not going as
Not
far
as
back.
bad.
Surprisingly, no. Actually, I think this is the comparatively newest compared to your specials.
Yeah, I'm not sure when the Ed one came out, but
So
Mine's the oldest.
we're switching channels over to Nickelodeon, and we're talking about Danny Mother Fenton or Phantom. Crap, I already ruined this.
it's that time of night. You're fine.
It's fine.
I mean, it's last name.
It's Redoubt Productions. I butcher everything. I try my hardest, folks, but I butcher everything. Yinzer accent.
Cut to the deep fried meme of yourself here.
Yeah. So, brief plot synopsis on Danny Phantom. Originally released in 2004, ran until 2007. It was not long for this world. Only 3 seasons. What a bummer. Anyways, it's about a boy named Danny Fenton, whose parents are paranormal investigators. So actually, that's put it mildly. They're paranormal catchers, exterminators. What?
They're based. Well, it's weird because they're also like kind of sort of like serious scientists, but they investigate the unknown, like paranormal, like.
But in the American way, where they take it to the nth degree.
Yeah, where they have guns to kill ghosts.
Because
Yeah.
guns make everything better.
I mean, they just do.
America.
Fuck yeah.
So, anyways, they try to build a ghost portal because they believe that there's this thing called
There's a
ghost
spirit
portal.
realm.
There's a spirit realm.
Yeah.
They crank it open, but it doesn't work. So Danny takes a look inside of it, and oh god, I'm trying so hard not to sing the song, but it does it so well.
Yeah.
And well, yeah, he turns it on by accident. He gets his DNA fried, and then he's turned into a half ghost, half human. So he's, in the words of Billy Crystal, he's mostly dead.
I was gonna say it's weird because half ghost, half human just sounds like a normal human but with extra steps.
Well,
You'll learn throughout the show that
You
we're not really dealing with the true paranormal. We're dealing more with just like freaky things.
but he's the way he is because of science.
Science.
Who knows?
Science, of course.
Science mumbo jumbo.
Let's be real here. Nothing's scarier than man-made horrors beyond your comprehension.
And we all
Yeah,
know
so-
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yikes.
So, anyways, Danny is now the superhero Danny Phantom, and he and his only 2 friends.
That's a
You really had to emphasize that, didn't
It
you?
is his only 2 friends.
Yeah.
Sam and Tucker, they help him fight against all of the paranormal in Amity Park.
Which is
Oh,
a
I
reference.
love that. I
Yeah.
forgot I was named that.
Yeah. There's a whole theory, and I, of course, support this theory that they're in Wisconsin because Danny's arch nemesis, who I could call him by his name, but Bill Polk. No, it's not Bill Polk.
You know the show better.
So the villain, whose name I'm not going to say because I just view him as Martin Mull as playing Colonel Mustard in Clue. He's a Green Bay Packers fanatic. Mm-hmm. That's openly stated in the show. So
Several times, yeah.
I like to believe that, yeah, Amity Park's in Wisconsin. It's
Makes
not far
sense.
from Green Bay. Anyway, so that's the plot of the show. Danny, Tucker, and Sam fight the paranormal in Amity Park.
It's very, very Monster of the Week kind
It
of
is.
formula.
It
Yeah.
is. So we decided to watch The Fright Before Christmas. Because by God, they did a Christmas show, and boy, does it deal with some of my pet peeves in life. This is going to show my personality. This is just an analysis of the Redoubt Productions deals with reality.
Is this part of the Redoubt Productions iceberg?
Yeah, it's part of it.
Yeah.
So, anyways, the episode opens. Danny, Sam, and Tucker, they're shopping at the mall because it's 2000.
That was the
2000s.
first. That was the first mistake.
Yeah, it's
Going
the
to the mall.
2000s. You already realized, oh wow,
Yeah.
we live here now. Surprisingly, there's only a mall like 20 miles down the road from us.
Yeah, but our mall is a casino now. That's why it's open.
Can we also mention that Will Arnett voices the main villain?
That's right. Oh my god, I thought I recognized the voice.
Yes, BoJack Horseman.
Oh wow, I know I recognize the
Wow.
voice. So.
When BoJack was
Arrested
just a twinkle in the
Development,
creator's eyes.
Ratatouille, Murderville, Lego Batman. A lot of
He was
credits.
Lego
to him.
Batman?
He's Batman.
He was. Yeah, he is Batman.
Wow.
And in the Lego movie
Darkness!
too.
Dark! Scary!
No.
Great. He's a great actor.
We gotta do the Lego movies at some
All the
point.
more
yeah.
reason that
Yeah.
supporting it. This episode's just an introspection of my life. They're shopping at the mall, and Danny just cannot put up with the Christmas cheer. And it's not so much the Christmas cheer itself, but the ridiculous over-commercialization and the essential core choir singing and things of that nature. And, you know, I can relate to this man.
Yeah.
I like Christmas. I don't want to be seen as a Scrooge, but god damn it.
Yeah.
Play some more Christmas songs.
When we
There's
start
more of a variety.
hearing Christmas music in October and September,
Yeah.
it's a little overkill.
Now, they're wondering, why are you such a Scrooge, Danny? Well, there's more reason to it than just that. Danny has had a very particularly traumatic Christmas experience in the past. His first Christmas was spent while at a Christmas tree farm while his parents were bickering over if Santa's real or not.
Yeah, that's one of the weird recurring themes of this episode is that Danny's parents, his dad firmly believes in Santa Claus, his mom does not.
She's like, science.
And they argue constantly over the holidays, apparently. This is just a normal thing.
But honestly, this also makes a lot of sense considering Maddie and Jack Fenton's personalities.
Do they argue a lot during the show? I don't remember.
I mean, they have disagreements, but they're, you know, well, I mean, Maddie's obviously the most intelligent person in the family, so, well, probably her daughter Jazz actually is the most intelligent. So, but
I mean, I think she had a Freud poster on her wall, which was interesting.
yeah, I mean, yeah,
That was funny.
yeah. So.
I'm gonna level with you. I don't know if I could trust anybody that has a
Yeah.
poster of Freud on their wall.
But you know, she has an Einstein, so.
That's true. She has an Einstein.
She balances out. Anyway, so yeah, they have this very weird particular rivalry, Jack and Maddie do. And while they're arguing, you don't realize a 1-year-old Danny's about to get urinated on
By a dog.
by a dog.
By a dog.
Yeah. So
Imagine that being your scarring Christmas memory.
Imagine being a child.
Well, they emphasize in the show it's more about his parents fighting over if Santa's real and
Yeah.
not the dog urinate on him. I think that
When
might
he was
be-
one.
I think that might
She remembers that.
You know that whole childhood trauma thing that sticks with you forever? Apparently,
universe-
Danny's just tied to Christmas.
The universe hates Danny. It's pretty well known.
Yeah.
Anyways, so he gets to the point he's going to take his frustrations out in the ghost zone. He starts shooting plasma rays, and eventually comes across the Ghost Rider, as Jess is as recognized, voiced by Will Arnett. And the guy just finished his first draft of his version of the Christmas Carol, and because he's a great fanfic writer, it's going to also be his final version.
Yes. No editing.
It's called The Fright Before Christmas.
So he walks
Great
out.
name, though.
He walks out just as Danny blasts his freaking book. Well, he's not aiming for the book. He's aiming for like a Christmas present or something.
It was. I think it was
a
like a
gingerbread
nutcracker
man?
or like a
Something like
gingerbread
that.
man. Yeah.
Danny initially feels remorse, but then he realizes he fried a Christmas book, and he's just like, "Oh, that's freaking hilarious," which is fitting with Danny's personality.
Like, oh, I'm sorry I broke your shit. Oh, it's a Christmas book? Nah, fuck it.
Yeah, Danny's a bit of a douche
Yeah. A little bit.
throughout the show. So the Ghost Rider decides to exact revenge upon him and is going to enslave him into his new version, The Fright Before Christmas 2, which means the episode title is completely wrong.
Yes.
Where was the 2?
Yeah, where's
they
the
thought
two?
it would be too
Hey, Butch
confusing for
Hartman,
American
where's the two?
audiences.
Butch Hartman has other problems right now.
Oh.
Oh, yeah, we're going to talk about that?
No.
We're just going to let you investigate that on your own.
So, anyways, Danny is stuck rhyming,
Not more than that.
and he's the
Which
only
is
one
really
aware of it.
cool.
Yeah.
We love a rhyme.
Which puts up one of my other pet peeves and like things that insist on. It's not that I don't like rhyming, folks, but it's not even the rhyme in itself, but it's things that insist on being. They force the charm. They forced the charm.
It has to be done in a very certain context to be good.
Yeah. And to be fair, the rhyming isn't all that great in this, which is part of the joke.
They play fast and loose with it, for sure.
I mean, Homie's a fanfic writer, so...
Yeah, Homie's a fanfic writer.
You know how the grammar is.
So, yeah, Danny's struggling. He's trying to find a way to break out of this. And the ghostwriter's like, dude, you're going to go through this story until you realize you need to stop being a douche. The ghostwriter is actually he only shows up in this one episode in the entire show, and he's one of the best villains just because in the whole show, just because he's like, dude, I'm trying to help you.
Yeah.
Stop being a douche. Just cheer up. Things like that. But he does it in this very complex way. So hijinks ensue. First, there were live reindeer in the mall. Live reindeer.
What
Gucci mall has live reindeer?
I don't know.
Mall of America, but they're not. I don't think that's one.
I don't know. I guess the Manson family were backing it.
Probably.
Yeah.
So he turns them from live reindeer into ghost reindeer because ghost reindeer are always better. And Danny has to fight them, but destroys them all and pisses everybody off. Danny has yet to break the rhyming spell as Jess holds up the middle finger. So Danny goes back after a horrible day, goes back home just to chill out, and his parents are still fighting over Santa.
Have been for decades.
They were in the mall, too.
Yeah, they were in the mall, too. I'm sure they tried to kill Danny at one point.
Probably.
So they're still fighting over Santa, and Danny just lays into them, in rhyme, lays into them to get over it.
And then he leaves.
He leaves.
He's like, I'm 14 and this is very deep, and he leaves.
So he leaves. He's strolling down the road, and the ghostwriter decides to start taking all the presents from everybody's house in Amity Park and basically turns them into one giant nutcracker, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, one giant nutcracker, which Danny has to fight off. But the whole idea is just to make Danny's life even more horrible, because now everybody's thinking that Danny Phantom stole all the presents
and destroyed them.
Yeah. So Danny destroys the nutcracker, but angers the entirety of Amity Park. And to keep in mind about the show, the Amity Park is about 50-50 with Danny Phantom. When the show starts, they're pretty much against him. Midway through the show, around this point, when the special aired, they were kind of like, he's pretty cool, he's pretty chill. So they'd be like, what the fuck, Phantom?
He's like the local superhero. They're like, oh, he's kind of chill.
He's kind of chill.
But you still have your editor of Daily Bugle.
J. Jonah Jameson.
Yeah. Yeah, you still have your Jameson type characters. Like, I don't like him.
He's illegal.
Yeah.
Yeah, Danny Phantom is a pretty good original rip-off of Spider-Man.
I would say so.
Yeah, Danny's one of the closest we've ever gotten to the true teen hero. Not done in a cringy, woke way.
Yeah.
I might have some anger toward Phase 4.
I'm not familiar.
MCU.
I've stopped after the last.
Okay.
Honestly,
movie.
the movies and the TV shows just keep coming too fast for me. I don't have the time.
That's fair enough.
Yeah.
So after all that, something. Does the tree fight happen before the next?
That's after.
That's after. Okay, so Danny goes back into the ghost zone. He's like, I've had enough of this bleep.
Oh, no, the tree
okay, the tree stuff does happen before.
Sorry.
Okay.
I said tree, it happens
okay,
before.
so now the trees are possessed, and the trees are trying to kill Danny.
Yeah.
And, well, at this point, Maddie, his mother, is basically noped out on the Santa fighting.
Yeah, she's like, I gotta find my son. He's out there.
He's 14.
He's 14.
She has
ghosts.
She has a Darth Maul axe.
2.
Yeah.
2 Darth Maul axes. She's got one in each hand.
Oh, right. So
she's dual wielding.
Yeah, a friendly reminder that Maddie is one of the greatest mothers in cartoon history.
Pretty based.
Yeah,
she's pretty based. Yeah. So she goes in there, cutting the trees down, trying to rescue Danny. She doesn't realize Danny's fighting the trees, by the way. But they solved that problem.
Yeah,
they solved the problem. All the trees are dead. Danny is finally decided, I am done with the rhyming. So he goes back into the ghost zone, and he gets somehow he ends up with the other ghosts in the ghost zone, the rogues gallery.
I think the ghost author moved the door.
Yeah, he moved the door to where the other ghosts
are.
Oh,
okay.
Yeah.
And this is all the
I can't remember my own pick.
And no, and he goes back to basically all the other antagonists that he plays throughout the series.
the sweater starts singing again.
You look so sad.
It just goes on. I woke me up from a nap earlier.
That's a personal problem.
It is.
It woke you up from a nap?
Yeah, I shouldn't have been sleeping, but whenever I go to myself, I sleep.
We find out probably one of the most bizarre legalistic things in this episode is that apparently all of like the antagonists that Danny fights throughout the season have like a long-standing Christmas truce where apparently ghosts don't fight each other on Christmas, and they just kind of vibe. And since Danny is half ghost, they're like, oh, well, we're not going to fight you because Christmas truce. Like, hang out, you know?
Do you want to say my theory?
Your theory about it being related to the 1914
Yeah,
Christmas truce.
Let's just say there was a war. One of the deadliest wars in recorded history.
A great war, if you will.
A great war.
Yeah.
And there was a Christmas truce. But it only ever happened in the first year of the war. And the year after, the commanding officers thwarted peace happening on Earth. And a lot of people died in the future Christmases. And I think those restless souls in the Danny Phantom universe decided, you know what? We're going to have a truce going forward.
I like that. I do like that theory.
It's like, I like that.
That tracks.
That's my track. So anyways, all the Rogues Gallery have this Christmas truce. And Danny explains to them what's happening. And they're like, oh, we're having none of this shit.
Yeah, they're like, oh, a ghost can't be fucking with you on Christmas. That's not allowed.
And the Ghost Rider didn't know that this was brought back.
Well, he knew it was in place, but he didn't realize it applied to Danny.
He's like, wait, this still applies?
Yeah, he's like, oh shit, I miscalculated. Like,
so Danny and the Rogues Gallery break the fourth wall. The Ghost Rider's fourth wall, break into his lair, and are getting ready to fight him. Like, you can't do this. And thank goodness the Ghost Rider has enough wherewithal. Like, oh my god, I have this giant typewriter right in front of me. Well, it's actually not. So it's very funny. To the first Fright Before Christmas, he was typing on, like, he was actually writing it out and everything. Yeah. But the Fright Before Christmas 2, he's doing it on this souped up, like, ghost computer.
Yeah.
Why didn't you just use that?
Well, that's funny because he was using that to write the first copy. And then when Danny accidentally shoots it, he's like, that was my only copy. It's like, dude, you were fucking writing that on a word processor. You have it saved.
Don't just hit the back button.
Yeah.
Get the back button. So anyways, he manipulates reality to now that the Rogues Gallery are going to fight Danny.
And each other.
And Danny comes up with an idea to break out of the rhyming. And he throws an orange at Walker.
Yes, because as we know, nothing rhymes with orange. Except, in my personal opinion, I think door hinge works close enough. 2 words. You can just do hinge.
Orange.
Hinge. Orange isn't a word.
What would a orange be, Jess?
A horny orange, duh.
I set it up and I'm still disappointed.
No. I'm talking about an orange with a horn.
Okay.
You took it. You made it weird.
Yeah, you made it weird.
Shit, am I the perverted one?
Yes.
Am I the asshole?
Yes.
But yeah, the orange apparently breaks the Ghost Rider.
So everything goes back to normal, and the Rogues Gallery get the Ghost Rider tied up and
send him to Ghost Jail.
Ghost Jail.
Yeah.
There's a whole episode before this dealing with Ghost Jail. That's where the aforementioned Walker comes from, because he's the warden of the Ghost Jail.
Yep.
So, but poor Danny has found that in the fight that the typewriter was broken, the computer whatever thing was broken, and the Ghost Rider says, "Well, I was just gonna write the ending, but well, you ruined that, so you're gonna have to solve this on your own. Bye, buddy. I'm gonna enjoy my time in therapy."
Ghost Jail.
Yeah, Ghost Jail. So Danny goes back. He's pretty devastated. He's like, well, this has been a crappy
Everyone
Christmas.
hates me.
Everybody hates me. This is a crappy Christmas.
And then his friends and his sister, who I forgot existed, show up to comfort him. And Danny kind of starts venting about how he ruined Christmas and he feels like shit. And that apparently him realizing that he's kind of a douche is what undoes the spell. And everything goes back to normal.
Yeah. And the Rogues Gallery come back. They're keeping that truce, and they're going to deliver all the presents back to everybody in Amity Park. Mm-hmm. Only Amity Park, not the rest of the world. Screw that shit.
Yeah, screw them.
Screw them. Just Amity Park. Well, to be fair, the presents we're going to take from Amity Park. But.
Yeah.
So they get everybody delivered back. Danny goes back to his house, makes amends to his parents. You know the rest. Ghost Rider's very happy. Danny has learned his lesson.
Yep.
That's it. And there's one more final gag with the orange.
Yes.
And that's the end of the episode.
Yeah.
That's the Christmas special.
There's a thing with his parents making up.
Right.
Well, yeah, because Yeah, because his mom...
Oh yeah, the parents make amends. They're done fighting about Santa because they see the rogues gallery flying off in Santa's sleigh. And they're like, oh yeah, ghosts are real. Let's go fight ghosts again.
Yeah.
Let's go kill Danny. Phantom, not our son, Phantom.
Oh yeah, that's another thing throughout the show is that they're hunting the ghost boy, Danny, who's their son.
But they don't know it.
They don't know he's their son. Yeah.
Never mind, cartoon
Even though
logic.
he looks exactly the same with white hair.
I don't think Jack doesn't have a Harry Osborn moment. He does not talk to a mask.
Yeah.
God damn, could you imagine what Danny Phantom be like? Nothing against Martin Mull, but if Vlad Plasmius was voiced by Willem Dafoe.
Oh man.
The greatest Marvel villain of all time, and it's canonical.
I love Willem Dafoe.
You know what? I'm already here. We got 10 more minutes. Let's talk about Spider-Man No Way Home. That's a Christmas movie.
Oh!
There's Christmas at the end.
Christmas depression.
It is Christmas in New York again.
Yeah, 1 year ago, I was in theaters, got to see it, and it was fantastic. You know what was most fantastic about being in theaters, watching that? Getting to see, well, I guess we're Generation Z, so the next generation, Generation Alpha, realizing that Willem Dafoe's the Green Goblin is the greatest Marvel villain, both because of camp and legit fear.
Yeah.
That was a great experience.
Well, and Dafoe's just such a great actor in general.
Oh
Yes.
my gosh, yes. I appreciate him more and more every movie I see.
Yeah, he's coming out with a new one next spring. Apparently, he's like a art thief.
Ooh.
Yeah, and he gets, well, as is the new Willem Dafoe trope, gets locked and isolated in a room and goes completely insane.
That's a mood.
That's the Willem Dafoe mood.
Yeah, that's fair.
That's going to be the rest of his... He's going to be typecast being isolated, far away from civilization, and going insane. You can fake the Edgar brothers for that.
We bring the lighthouse.
Don't you love being when your favorite actors get typecast as certain people?
I'm down for it.
Hey,
Like freaking Nicolas Cage just being the weird dude.
What does Nicolas Cage... What does Nicolas Cage do during the holiday season?
Whatever he wants. He's Nicolas Cage.
it's Nicolas Cage.
He's
man.
Nicolas Cage.
Yeah.
He's Nicolas Cage.
Well,
Well,
I was gonna get topical talking about the Lord of War, but I'm not gonna do it.
that's
Yeah.
another night.
That's
So
another night. Yeah.
we're gonna wrap this up, folks. It's been a wonderful blast going for our childhood favorites.
Yeah. No, it was a really good
and
time. Yeah.
questioning certain aspects of
Yes.
our personality.
Certainly.
Connor, what have you learned about yourself?
I've learned that as a kid, I must have been a really greedy asshole because I really identified with Eddie as a kid.
You just wanted money. Who cares?
Were
So
you
many
digging up
things.
the floorboards in the house and getting your hands
No, but I was
contaminated with insulation?
He was devious. He thought about things.
like what?
You were just always thinking, and I was the jock, and I beat everyone up.
That's true.
That was our
I mean,
roles.
Beat me up a multiple.
I mean, you can
Many
check
things.
out a Humble Collector's channel and see what his devious ideas led to a wonderful collection.
Yeah,
of
yeah, it's
artifacts.
great. Instead of being like rich, I'm just a hoarder. That's like really
Well, at least you hoard paper
Tomato,
products primarily.
potato.
yes.
King Def card right here.
Working on it.
Get in there.
I've bought over 100 in the past month. It's been a
Holy!
it's been a lot of money. It's fine.
It's been a year for you.
It's been a year. I think in the past year I bought close to like 600 death cards.
Jess, what have you learned from
Oh.
this experience?
I don't know if I've learned anything. It's just more reiterated the fact that I have the worst sense of humor. Considering the fact that I was laughing at a piece of poop dancing around, and that was like the funniest shit I've ever
It
seen.
was pretty funny.
It was pretty funny.
Yeah.
You're not alone.
Also, that I need to rewatch both Danny Phantom and Ed and Eddie because I forgot a lot of plot points in both shows.
And I've learned that since apparently I relate to Danny in The Fright Before Christmas and his peril, I must be a douche.
We're all douches in our own sense.
Inside, yeah.
We're all douche.
So that's going to conclude the heterochroMEDIA Christmas special of 2022. Thank you for tuning in. We'll return to our normal programming the nearest Friday from this being uploaded.
Are you through Evangelion yet? Yeah.
We have
I think we're just about to tackle the end of Evangelion.
Oh.
We haven't even talked the wall yet. That's 2023.
Yeah, that
Damn.
seems like a good way to start 2023.
Yeah. Start off with Ultimate Doomer music, which is the wall.
That's how we're going to each year now.
Yep.
So, enjoy your holidays, folks. I'm signing out.
All right, I'm also signing out.
Happy holidays!
Ooh.